A former priest accused of sexual abuse speaks publicly for the first time. Why, he says, he changed his name.
I joined an order, and the common thing is you take a name in the order. So I became Father Peter.
A flaming wall falls, but a firefighter survives, proof of the dangers that come with saving lives. Texas feels the burn. Hot off a New Hampshire win, Bernie Sanders comes to North Texas for a big rally tonight. Spicy ketchup, patty melts, and wedding vows. The most Texas way to get hitched this Valentine's Day. Freezing cold, pouring rain. It's all over.
I got a pocket full of sunshine. I got a love and I know that it's all mine.
We're in for a sunny Valentine's weekend. Live from South Victory, we start with your forecast from Pete Delkus.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Pete Delkus. It has been a beautiful day. I know it's been on the chilly side, but as you take a look at what's happening outside right now, the clear skies we've had today, we will keep clear skies as we head through tonight. I have no rain in my forecast tonight. I have no rain in my forecast for the weekend. Temps right now are cool. It's either in the upper 40s or lower 50s across North Texas. And here is your Valentine's evening planning forecast. Nice night tonight. Bundle up. It's a snuggle alert tonight. Oh yeah, you'll need that. It's going to be a chilly one tonight, but I do have warmer temps in the forecast. Temperatures fall by the midnight hour to about 40 degrees. Wait until you see the nice warm up on the way. I'll detail that. I'm also talking rain. I'm talking widespread rain. I'll tell you when it will arrive. 10-day outlook coming up.
He betrayed the trust of Catholic families in Dallas, and now we know a former priest is going to stay in jail. Richard Brown is accused of sexually abusing a little girl in the 1980s.
Last year, he was named in a list of accused priests, but had moved out of state under a different name. Rebecca Lopez was in the courtroom today where Brown claims that name change was not intended to hide from police.
Former Catholic priest Richard Brown, who is accused of raping a child, tried to get out of jail today by asking a judge to lower his bond. Visiting Judge Mike Snipes said he was concerned the priest might flee. When he was arrested, Brown was living under a different name, going by Father Pete.
Which to me is an indication that you were trying to disguise your real identity, which then to me I infer that means you're a flight risk.
For the first time, we heard the former priest in court explaining why he changed his name.
I joined an order, and the common thing is you take a name in the order. So I became Father Peter.
His lawyer says changing names is common in the Catholic Church.
It would be deceptive to say he changed his name to hide his identity. He changes his name because that is what you do when you become a member of a religious order.
Brown's lawyer wanted his bond lowered from $100,000 to $25,000. Judge Snipes says he was actually going to raise the bond, but left it the same, and told Brown if he posts bail and gets out, he'll make him wear an ankle monitor. His lawyer said Brown is frail and needs to be in a hospital, not tracked by GPS.
He is in ailing health. He is 78 years old. He has not been well.
Brown is accused of raping a little girl back in the 1980s, but is also suspected in more cases. Attorney Tahara Khan Merritt represents one of the other victims.
What they've done for decades now is hiding this predator and allowing him to continue on, moving him from parish to parish.
Judge Snipes says Brown's place for now is in jail and won't consider lowering bond unless his attorney can prove he needs to be in a medical facility. In Dallas, I'm Rebecca Lopez.
Well, if this video doesn't leave you speechless, take a look at that burning wall collapsing on top of a Dallas fire captain. It happened early this morning near Walnut Hill and Harry Hines. Now, we hear a lot about the danger firefighters face every day, but this proves every second they're on the scene, they're putting their lives at risk. Dallas fire rescue officials tell us Fire Captain Ronald Yannick is eventually expected to be okay. I mean, you saw him crawling out of that wreckage. Captain Yannick suffered some minor burns and pretty bad damage to his back, and he's in the hospital right now. We'll be rooting for you, sir.
Well, right now, Bernie Sanders hopes Texas is feeling the burn. Hundreds of supporters are anxiously waiting for the doors to open for his big rally tonight in Mesquite. Our Teresa Woodard is there, and we'll have a full recap at 10. You know, Texas is one of more than a dozen states voting on Super Tuesday, March 3rd. It's just a couple of weeks away. Earlier today, Sanders held 2 rallies in North Carolina.
Noon tonight, American Airlines is extending its cancellations for the 737 MAX jets. Just a few hours ago, the Fort Worth-based airline announced it's pulling the jets from service until August 17th. That means American will cancel about 140 flights per day. Now, just yesterday, Dallas-based Southwest pulled the MAX 8 from service until August 10th. The planes have been grounded since 2 deadly crashes overseas. Boy, I got to say, the flu season in North Texas just keeps getting worse. Today, Dallas County reported its 17th death related to the flu. The patient was 54 years old and had some underlying medical conditions. We want to remind you, it's not too late to get vaccinated, and you can get a free flu shot at any Dallas County immunization clinic. Here's another question. Are you a donor, as in on an official list like the bone marrow registry?
Kevin Reese has a story that shows why you should, because on this Valentine's Day, what better way to show your love for a stranger than to save their life?
His name is Aksaj, and he will show you his piano skills if you ask, and then his family will also give you a verse or two of his remarkable story.
I felt like the earth underneath my legs was pulled off.
Because 3 years ago, doctors told them he had leukemia. After chemo, he would need a bone marrow transplant, but no one in his family matched. But across town, out of all places, a cancer center in Fort Worth, one of those remarkable things happened.
Okay.
Her name is Dr. Prasanthi Ganesa, and years ago, as a medical student in College Station,
Texas A&M, gig 'em.
she and a few friends decided to join the bone marrow registry.
Really without thinking about it until I got the call.
Got the call that she was a match. 2 immigrant families from the same region of southern India had found each other in the bone marrow database and were living in North Texas just a few miles away from each other.
It was just a surprise. It was a delightful surprise.
8.5.
So you already know the happy ending. After transplants from 2 donors, Aksaj is healthy again. But he wanted to meet his hero, to say,
Thank you for saving my life.
This is a cool Friday, right?
So Friday morning at Children's Medical Center in Dallas, in a room all dressed up for Valentine's Day, they celebrated National Donor Day, too.
Hey, buddy. How are you? Oh, my goodness.
Definitely is on the list of one of my happiest and proudest moments in my life. You know what this means, right? We're gonna have to be friends forever.
Being on the registry is easy. All it takes is a swab of saliva, and minority donors are needed the most.
Thank you.
With the gift of a bracelet and a
Well,
card,
how wonderful is this? Oh.
Aksaj told his donor he now considers her his godmother.
Very thankful because I still alive.
So I'm so grateful that I've had that opportunity.
Because she says she feels like she received more than she gave,
Give each other a hug.
and that by being a donor,
Go back.
just maybe, got an even bigger family, too. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
From one child fighting a critical illness to another, a surprise for a 7-year-old fighting a tough battle. Next at 6, the special moment that made this brave little Dallas girl smile so big.
Luka-mania has arrived in Chicago for NBA All-Star Weekend, and today a special moment between Luka and one of his fans. We'll share it with you coming up.
And how do you feel about Valentine's Day? Our live poll is now open.
And we have a story about the most Texan way to celebrate your love. You don't want to miss it in about 5 minutes. And now here's your travel forecast. Mesquite police have arrested the men they say scammed a Vietnam veteran out of thousands of dollars. Police say this guy, Joshua Bell, convinced the veteran to spend $17,000 to repair her roof. But he never did the work. He is currently being held without bond.
A lot of tough stories today. Here's one that may make you smile. One little girl had a very special day in Highland Park.
Hadley Daniel is just 7 years old, but she is fighting more than you can possibly imagine. She was diagnosed with leukemia a few years ago, and she's never given up.
I tell her all the time she's the strongest little girl I know. She's my hero, always will be. She never quits. She keeps on and on.
Today, the Make-A-Wish Foundation surprised the Daniel family with a trip to Disney. Look at that smile. The goal is to continue to fill Hadley and her family with fuel, inspiration, and hope.
Yeah, I know we'll all be rooting for her here. Okay, I've been waiting to say this all afternoon. What a day inside a Whataburger.
What a cheese ball.
The very Texas way to spend Valentine's. Now at 5, a massive fire erupts along a highway in Texas. The big question, what sparked it?
The Leaning Tower of Dallas still stands. The latest plan to bring down this 11-story building.
And what is going on with our allergies? And for that matter, how bad are yours? We're opening our live poll. Live from South Victory, WFAA News at 5 starts now.
Well, it felt a lot like spring today. It's been nice, but prepare yourselves because the winter roller coaster will continue.
Yeah, let's get right to Pete. Boy, I guess what goes up has to come down at some point. This being February and all.
It's just the way it is here, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
yesterday we're in the upper 70s. Today we hit 78. So yeah, it was a spring-like day, but all that fun will come to an end. The clouds are in place right now. Here's cold front. That's the beginning of the end of the fun. It's 64 in Archer City, same at Wichita Falls. Seymour's 63, it's 57 in Haskell. But we're still in the 70s, 76 Dallas, 77 at Fort Worth, 78 in Waxahachie. So you get the idea. It's warm in advance of that front. That front moves through tonight. It'll pass by about 10 o'clock tonight or so. It might trigger just a few showers across the area. I don't have much in the way of rain tonight. You know, 30% of us or so see a little bit of showery activity tonight. We'll have a little bit of rain early tomorrow morning, but the bigger story is going to be this. It's going to be that much colder day tomorrow. So upper 70s, some spots today we're right at 80, but tomorrow that won't be the case. By 7 in the morning, we're at 53 degrees. And that's it. I mean, we'll either be steady tomorrow with our temps or they will slowly fall throughout the day. So enjoy the warm start in the morning because it'll be colder after that. And then even much cooler weather ahead. And oh, by the way, widespread rain too. I'll tell you when it will all arrive. I'll have the rainfall timeline coming up.
All right, Pete, thank you. And if your allergies are acting up, you'd fit in perfectly in our newsroom.
Yeah, a lot of us are suffering today, and we're curious to know how much it's affecting you. Click the Vote Now tile on your WFAA app and rank your allergy pain on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being not much of a bother, 10 feeling like you want to scratch your eyes out.
And while you're doing that, Tiffany Liu met with a doctor to see if there's anything we can do.
It's up and down weather in the DFW area. One day it's gorgeous and warm, then crazy fog, and go ahead, throw in some pouring rain. We're used to the roller coaster in North Texas. It does, however, leave a lot of our bodies confused and ridden with allergies.
Choose a season, it's bad at some point.
Dr. Mark Cook is a family physician with JPS Health. He says we'll have to hang in there because allergy season here is year-round.
In the spring it's trees, in the summer it's grass, in the fall it's weeds, in the winter it's mold.
Today, pollen in the DFW area is moderate for elm and grass. Fungus is low, but juniper, which the pesky cedar falls under, is rather high.
It's very common in Texas to get what we call cedar fever, which is from the pollen that blows all the way from the hill country up to North Texas. Generally, it's beginning at the end of December and may run through February, March, or even into April.
You might be feeling some of the symptoms.
You can have sneezing, you can have runny nose, you can have changes in the color of your secretions, you can have headaches, you can have blurry vision, you can have itchiness in your eyes, you can have a scratchy throat, you can have a cough.
Dr. Cook recommends a few tips. Take your allergy medicine early. Drink plenty of fluids, use eye drops and nasal spray, make sure you have good air filters at home, and take a hot shower to get that pollen off.
Don't assume that it's going to go away after the first day.
In Fort Worth, I'm Tiffany Liu.
Well, folks have started calling it the Leaning Tower of Dallas, and right now it is still standing, slanted but strong. Commuters are hitting the brakes on 75 to get a look at the 11-story tower tilting just off Haskell Avenue. It was supposed to come down Sunday in this implosion, but while the explosives went off without a hitch, the tower stood strong. Demolition crews tried to push it over with a crane, but that didn't work either. Now they're going to bring in a wrecking ball, but the company doesn't know when that'll happen just yet. And of course, this is all to make way for a massive retail and business development. Take a look at this huge fire that erupted off a highway in Corpus Christi. Giant flames were shooting hundreds of feet in the air today. Officials say a gas line ruptured along Interstate 37, but they don't know how. The Texas Railroad Commission is on the scene investigating. And here at home, Plano police say 3 teenagers were killed in a fiery crash this morning. 2 of them were students in Plano ISD. Investigators say the driver was speeding when the car hit 2 trees on Hedgecox Road. The BMW split in half, barreled about 100 feet, and caught fire.
Well, it is something that's top of mind for runners, security, and a scenario you play out is this one. You're out in the morning and someone attacks you. That is exactly what a woman from Frisco says happened to her today. WFAA's Ariel Plasencia is in the Trails neighborhood with the story. Ariel, what do police say happened here?
Well, this woman, as you mentioned, was just out for a jog. She didn't know the man, and then something completely unexpected happened. And you mentioned the name of this neighborhood. I talked to residents. They tell me that's why this area is called the Trails, because everybody uses the trail that runs through it all the time. Biking, jogging, walking, all of that. Now, this is the general area where police say this attack happened, Crockett and the Trails. And it would happen around 6:20 this morning. Police say a woman just went out for an early morning jog. And as she was running, she noticed a man who she didn't know walking on the sidewalk and wearing all black clothing. As she tried to pass him, Frisco police say that's when he grabbed her and then threw her to the ground. Now, thankfully, she was able to get to safety. She ran to another house and called 911. And as of this evening, police say that she suffered minor injuries. Turning our attention to police now, they want your help. If you were out on the trail this morning, maybe you have some information about what happened, or perhaps you live in this area and you have a doorbell camera. Check your footage and please give police a call at that number you see on their screen. But Chris and Izzy, best news of the evening, she's doing all right and just happy that the story didn't end any worse. I'll send it back to you guys.
Glad she's okay. And this reminder, it's always best to run in numbers. Thank you, Ariel. Now to the flu season that just won't stop. Today, MedStar in Fort Worth says it has seen a 63% increase in flu-related calls this month alone. First responders are treating an average of 9 people a day. That is slightly lower than the January average, but still, it's high. The worst hit zip code 76116, which is in southwestern Fort Worth.
The body camera footage has been called graphic, gruesome, and gut-wrenching, but today prosecutors showed it to the jury so they could see how a Richardson police officer was killed. Brandon McCall is facing the death penalty for the capital murder of Officer David Sherrard. He was shot and killed 2 years ago. And our David Goins spent the day in the courtroom. What's happening now, David?
Yeah, hey there, Chris. The trial is up here on the second floor of the Collin County Courthouse, but our cameras can't go past the lobby. So let me walk you through a little bit of what we've seen so far in the courtroom today. Prosecutors started their opening statements telling jurors they would transform themselves into eyewitnesses to a murder, describing that they would see Officer David Sherrard get shot and die on body camera video. Sherrard was a 13-year veteran of Richardson Police when he was one of 8 officers that initially responded to a shots fired call at an apartment complex in February of 2018. When they arrived, they found 30-year-old Renee Gomez already dead outside an apartment door. And when officers kicked that door in, prosecutors say 28-year-old Brandon McCall was waiting and ambushed the officers. Sherrard became the first Richardson officer killed in the line of duty, and only after SWAT officers fired 60 rounds of tear gas did McCall finally surrender. Chris?
Oh, yeah, he certainly didn't go quietly. And David, we mentioned that the body cam video. I know it has to be difficult to watch. How is the courtroom handling the video?
Yeah, and there's a lot of the video, Chris. So far, we've only seen 3 different angles. Again, with 8 officers, jurors are going to have to watch this over and over again, including one officer who tended to Sherrard after he was shot and tried to render aid as best he could, but quickly realized that was not going to be possible. Testimony is expected to continue for the rest of the week.
All right, David Goins live in McKinney tonight at 5. Well, the Texas primary is still 2 weeks away, but tomorrow you can let your voice be heard. Early voting runs from tomorrow through February 28th, and there are some changes this year, especially for those of you who live in Dallas and Tarrant counties. This year, you can vote at any precinct in those counties. You can read about everything you need to know to vote early on our website at WFAA.com/politics. And before Texas votes on March 3rd, it's Nevada's turn. All of the Democratic candidates are hitting the trail hard because any momentum from Iowa and New Hampshire might not help them in Nevada. ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi reports.
With early voting underway in Nevada, the Democratic presidential candidates are making a big push to win over residents ahead of this closely watched caucus. Pete Buttigieg riding a wave of momentum from his strong showings in Iowa and New Hampshire, taking a swipe at President Trump in front of a crowd of veterans in Reno.
One of the benefits of having served is that you've seen worse forms of incoming than tweets full of typos.
Earlier in the day, the former mayor releasing a new ad sending a nod to Latino voters who make up a third of the population. Senators Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren also running Spanish ads in Nevada markets. Joe Biden counting on a comeback in the state, stressing that a vast majority of the population from diverse backgrounds haven't weighed in on the competition.
Nevada's not been heard from yet, nor is South Carolina, nor are the Super Tuesday states.
But as the candidates make their appeal to voters, they're also shifting their focus onto former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Bloomberg is not even on the ballot in Nevada, but the businessman has spent an unprecedented $381 million on ads so far.
I never thought I was going to be able to compete with some of my opponent's bank accounts.
Bloomberg is currently polling at third place in the national polls behind frontrunners Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. And in his latest digital ad, Bloomberg targets Sanders by showing aggressive and sometimes threatening tweets, supposedly from Sanders supporters. Sanders firing back.
We will not create the energy and excitement we need to defeat Donald Trump if that candidate pursued racist policies like stop and frisk.
And Nevada is the first and only caucus state to hold 4 days of in-person early voting for those unable to do so on Saturday. On day one, 56% of early voters were first-time caucus goers. Mona Kosarandi, ABC News, Washington.
Not a historic and unprecedented flooding in Mississippi. Just look at that. The Pearl River in Jackson crested today just shy of 37 feet. That is its highest level since 1983. People had to evacuate their homes on boats over the weekend. As many as 1,000 homes have flooded there, and they aren't in the clear yet. Another storm system is expected to hit tonight and tomorrow.
A house exploded in Dawson a few years ago, and people could see and hear it from miles away. 5 victims were buried in the rubble, including Margaret Rowland.
I had that feeling that I was floating way up in the sky somewhere. I just felt like, because it was so dark. And then there was a brief period that I don't remember too much.
Yeah, obviously she made it out alive. Volunteer firefighters only had limited equipment and had to dig through the rubble to find survivors. They were all like Margaret in their 70s and 80s. And tonight at 10, they're sharing the story of their dramatic rescue. You'll also hear from the doctors and first responders who saved them. It's an incredible story proving the power of hope. And still to come at 5, what comes up, well, must come down. Just not always where it should, where this rocket ended up this morning.
Plus, how many of you try to get in 10,000 steps a day? We've all heard that's the magic number to lose weight, but is that true?
And we invite you to keep voting in our live poll. Just how bad are your allergies right now? We've got about 600 people already weighing in, and we invite you to do so at WFAA.com/vote now. What started out as a great launch for SpaceX didn't go as planned. You could see its Falcon 9 rocket carrying dozens of satellites into orbit. That part was successful, but as we've said a couple times today, what goes up should come down, but the booster rocket missed its landing spot by a fairly wide margin. It was supposed to touch down on this floating landing pad in the Atlantic Ocean, but if you see the smoke there, off to the right side of the screen, well, that's where it ended up crashing into the water. SpaceX has gotten really good at catching its booster rockets and reusing them, but this time, it just missed. The top college quarterback in the country is being honored tonight in Fort Worth. LSU's Joe Burrow will receive the Davy O'Brien National Quarterback Award. Now Joe Trahan is there to see it.
Yeah, you guys, thanks. For more than 40 years, they have been handing out the Davy O'Brien Award. Its namesake is a former TCU quarterback who won the Heisman Trophy back in 1938. Now, Troy Aikman, the Cowboy great, Peyton Manning, Vince Young, those are some of the former winners of this award. But I don't think the committee has ever had as easy a task as choosing this year's winner. LSU's Joe Burrow had one of, if not the best season ever by a college quarterback. 3 words sum up Burrow's season: productive, prolific, and most importantly, perfect. Burrow led an explosive Tiger offense, propelling LSU to a perfect 15-0 record, culminating with a national championship victory over Clemson. The fifth-year senior was a pinpoint passer, and he could beat you deep, too, throwing for more than 5,600 yards and an NCAA record 60 touchdowns. He won the Heisman Trophy as well as many other national awards, and tonight, here at the Fort Worth Club, a banquet honoring the nation's best QB.
I'm super excited for tonight, meeting a lot of new people, meeting a lot of people that have played the game and have influenced me growing up. So I'm excited to meet all these guys.
Now, Burrow figures to be the NFL's #1 overall draft pick to the Bengals, although he danced around the topic in terms of whether or not he wanted to play in Cincinnati. The bottom line is this: he had one of the best college seasons ever, and it's put him in an incredible situation, and it's his night tonight. We'll have more with Joe Burrow coming up at 6. Back to you.
We look forward to that, Joe. Did you know that a cup of hot cocoa, well, we all know it tastes great on a winter morning, but apparently it could also help your circulation. A British study worked with a group of about 60, or rather over 60, people over the age of 60 who suffered from common peripheral artery disease, or a narrowing of the arteries in the legs. Those who drank a cup of cocoa 3 times a day for 6 months performed significantly better in a walking test. Cocoa contains a compound believed to boost your circulation. All right, so do you set a goal of 10,000 steps a day? Maybe you track it on your Fitbit. Health experts have long advised to hit that goal if you want to slim down. Well, you're not going to like the results of a BYU study. It tracked a group of freshmen and found no number of simple steps alone kept their weight in check. Of course, regular walking does have other health benefits.
And of course, we asked you earlier in the newscast just how bad are your allergies right now? What was it, 800-900 people?
Yes,
yeah, have
nearly 1,000.
already weighed in. And it seems like, I guess it's all cutting to the average, because it looks like a lot of people said not bothering me much at all, and probably a lot of 10s in there as well, saying I'm miserable.
6 is pretty high. You know how it gets me? The itchy eyes. I mean, it's just rubbing my eyes all weekend long.
Well, 10 was scratch your eyes out. I'm miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm taking a
I relate.
I'm taking a poll too.
Yeah.
What's that?
Do you call it cocoa or hot chocolate? Because
Hot chocolate. I
Okay,
call it
see,
hot chocolate,
you're being
yeah.
fancy. I knew you were. You know she's like that.
Do
You
you-
don't watch her. She's got to be a little fancy once
Do you
in a
call it gorgonzola or gorgonzola?
Well, yeah, exactly. He's blind. I mean, okay, we'll go. We'll move on. Let me show you a little inside joke. I apologize. Google it. Google Cynthia, and you can see that.
Ah, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's a gift from me to you back in your Albuquerque, New Mexico days. If you Google it, you'll see it for yourself. 76 degrees outside right now at Fair Park. It's cloudy. Kaylee, do you know what we're talking about? Kaylee Dion is brand new here, and Google blind gay, and you'll see exactly. You can do that on your work computer. You won't get blocked. 73 right now at Cedar Hill. You look at the sun's peeking out. We're looking across Joe Pool Lake right now. It's starting to really thicken the cloud cover at Dallas Baptist University. It's 75 degrees as we look over the Pilgrim Chapel. Today and yesterday, both days, we were 17 degrees above normal. We hit 78 today. The normal high is 61. The low this morning, 58. Our low the last couple of mornings was not too far away from the normal high of 61, but 40, that's our normal low. We'll be closer to 40, at least it'll feel closer to normal as we head through the day tomorrow. Last 3 days have been spring-like in North Texas. 75 outside right now. South wind at 11 miles an hour. We have clouds that will just thicken as we head through tonight. There's our cold front. 64 in Wichita Falls, Archer City, and Seymour. It's 77 in Fort Worth, 70 in Mineola, 78 in Waxahachie, 76 in Dallas. The front is on top of the Dallas-Fort Worth area about 10 tonight. A little spotty rain around here at 10 o'clock tonight. Just some spotty light showers at 3 a.m. 7 a.m. we'll have some around Dallas, Fort Worth, and locations down to the south. And then as we head through the morning hours tomorrow, we'll keep the clouds around and spotty light rain around is what, boy, I'm glad that shop vac. There's a shop vac up here above me right now. They're sucking up a wetness on the ground. It's finally stopped. Okay, I digress. Clouds at noon tomorrow and spotty light showers, and then a little bit of rain as we head through tomorrow afternoon. Then I want you to watch this. The real shot of rain comes as we head into the day. Really, it's Wednesday evening. So Wednesday morning, just a couple spotty showers, but check this out. At 6 p.m. on Wednesday, here it comes. Widespread rain Wednesday night. There's nothing severe. I have no flooding in my forecast. That's midnight Wednesday night. That's 3 a.m. Thursday morning. That's 7 a.m. on Thursday. And then as we head through the day on Thursday, the rain's mainly in the morning. We dry out late in the day. We may see a peak of sun late in the day. We'll pick up a decent shot of rain. The heaviest of the heavy, south and southeast of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. These locations that could pick up 1 to 3 inches of rain, that's where we have moderate to severe drought. Not a drought in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. but another ½ an inch to an inch is in our forecast. Temperatures will drop or they'll be steady as we head through tomorrow. By 7 a.m. tomorrow, we're at 53. And look at this, throughout the day, we'll just kind of hover right there in the lower 50s. By 9 p.m. we drop to 50, and then by 7 in the morning on Wednesday, we'll hit 42. And I'll tell you what, Wednesday and Thursday are going to be pretty chilly days. Tonight, just some spotty rain. Not a bad night, 53 for the low. Tomorrow, temperatures are either steady or they slowly fall throughout the day. 53, that's our low tonight, and that's our temperature tomorrow at 7 in the morning. And the temperatures just don't change a whole lot throughout the day tomorrow. Then, that's why I have the arrow pointing down tomorrow, because they're steady or they're falling. 50 on Wednesday. Thursday's high is 47. But the best shot of rain will be Wednesday evening and overnight Wednesday, ending Thursday morning. Friday and Saturday are dry, then another chance of rain Sunday, then another low chance next week on Wednesday. So it's just more rain in the forecast. For the year, we're about 4 inches above normal. We've had as much rain the first 2 weeks in February as we've hit our average for the month, just in half of the month.
Wow.
So all this will just be a surplus in February. And as you head into, the summertime, it's kind of nice to have a surplus going into, when the faucets shut off.
Think about that.
And the gates of hell open. That's what happens every summer here.
Yeah.
If you're new, welcome.
What a welcome.
Mom, what does HELL mean?
Yeah, I know.
Biblical.
Well, this probably would have done you more good at 5 in the morning instead of 5 in the afternoon, but time for your dose of Monday motivation.
Yeah, if you're planning your dinner, wait until you hear about this couple. Luis and Amanda Almasa had yo-yo dieted before, but this time they tried something different, seeking out an obesity medicine specialist. The husband and wife used each other as a support system, and together they have lost almost 200 pounds. And they've kept it off. No surgery, no pills.
Learn how to change your diet. We can teach you that. You can prevent the vast majority of medical issues.
Tomorrow on News 8 Daybreak, health and wellness reporter Sonia Azad will share more about the program Amanda and her husband did. And guess what? It's covered by insurance. Watch Sonia's series Transformation Tuesday tomorrow at about 6:30 in the morning.
No, pretty inspiring. That's a lot of weight to drop.
I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
We'll be right back.
And coming up tonight at 6, what happens next over at the Leaning Tower of Dallas? Yeah, crews tried to demolish a building in Uptown over the weekend and things didn't go as planned. We'll have that story and what happens next there at 6. See you then.